She's
I mean,
a
they
serial
sound reasonable.
fraudster.
Blake Lively will be sued.
It seems like Blake Lively is indeed going to jail, as Megyn Kelly is adamant about exposing her.
And she bullied him.
Megyn Kelly is using her resources to expose the lies and deception of the Hollywood queen, making sure her sob story crumbles down.
It's all going to be based on evidence.
The evidence Megyn Kelly is showing is enough to break down the innocent facade of Lively, solidifying the fact that we are soon going to see this pretty actress behind bars.
I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have because the truth should be out there. What does she have to fear if she's telling the truth?
Megyn Kelly, along with her legal team, has gone on a warpath to expose every lie of Blake Lively regarding Justin Baldoni. Times when the Hollywood and media were taking the side of Lively, Megyn Kelly made her a mission to go into the depths of the smear campaign of this Hollywood queen.
You can rest assured that based on the investigation we've done, the text messages we have, the receipts that'll go along with that complaint, she's dead in the water.
She has done numerous interviews with Justin Baldoni's lawyer that led her to uncover the truth about the drama that unfolds on the set of It Ends With Us.
The New York Times is being sued for defamation by Baldoni.
Megyn's YouTube channel contains a series of videos where she presents numerous receipts that tell the world what happened on the set of Colleen Hoover's movie.
And today we see some evidence.
Ah yes, the receipts. The modern-day Excalibur in celebrity drama. If you don't have them, you're just another person shouting into the void. But if you do, well, you're apparently launching a full-scale Truth Will Prevail campaign, complete with an entire website dedicated to proving what exactly? That Blake Lively was mean to Justin Baldoni? Did she want to take control of the movie? What crisis PR teams do what crisis PR teams have literally always done? Or that showing a woman a video of childbirth during a work discussion is, in fact, not pornography? Groundbreaking.
She has started a fight she cannot win. She does appear like an Amber Heard to me.
No doubt that Megyn is comparing Blake Lively to Amber Heard, a chilling comparison no one wants in their peak career in Hollywood.
I have yet to see one of her complaints borne out. In fact, all of the ones I've seen have been undermined by his hardcore proof in text messaging and so on that puts a totally different light on her horrific allegations. Then you see what she actually said and wrote. It's very different.
Voice messages, text messages, body language analysis, voicemails, and raw footage. Megyn postpartum every digital evidence and presents real facts in front of the world. After their postpartum, she declares Blake Lively is indeed going to jail for perjury and defamation charges.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie.
Lively is continuously lying in her smear campaigns, but in the court, after taking the oath, she is obliged to tell the truth. Otherwise, hello to prison. So, for how long she could be in jail?
Leslie Sloan was planting stories negative to Justin.
Yes. According to California Penal Code Section 118 PC, perjury can lead to a prison sentence of up to 4 years. This is the most lenient punishment. But if the court decides to make an example out of her, she could face lifetime imprisonment, along with a hefty fine of $10,000.
Justin never wanted to hurt her, never wanted to be negative to her. He wanted to protect the film, he wanted to protect himself, and he wanted to protect her from making negative allegations about him that were made up.
On top of this, Baldoni has filed a defamation and extortion lawsuit against her and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, seeking $400 million in damages.
The young kids would call it receipts. We call it evidence. And it's all over the place. There are text messages that refute every single thing in that complaint.
Legal experts view this astronomical figure as more of a strategic move to gain leverage and attract media attention rather than a realistic expectation. But still, we don't know. Maybe Lively has to give this money too, as Baldoni is quite furious with her. Here, we should not forget the $7 million defamation charges that Justin's crisis publicist, Jed Wallace, has filed against Lively. Why? Well, she also severely suffered because of the drama of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
When you go after someone, you try to destroy their life. And actually, the evidence shows something different. Blake Lively was no victim here.
So, what really happened? What is the digital evidence Megyn is talking about, and what are they proving? Let's discuss them in detail here. Justin Baldoni, an actor barely recognized outside of his own living room, acquired the rights to Colleen Hoover's best-selling book, It Ends With Us. He dreamed of making a masterpiece where he would showcase the realistic and heartbreaking story of domestic violence. For this, he wanted a strong team. So, somehow, he managed to convince Blake Lively to star in it. What could go wrong? Oh, right, everything.
Blake had spent the entire prior year trying to wrest control of this movie away from Justin Baldoni. It was his film. He was the director. He's the producer. He's the one who found the book.
Turns out, Blake wanted more than just the lead role. She wanted control over the whole production. She reportedly rewrote scenes without being asked. Imagine hiring a plumber, and he suddenly decides to redesign your entire bathroom because he wasn't feeling fulfilled. That's our Blake.
You bullies were the ones who were trying to ruin Justin so you could have your way on all the scenes and all the wardrobe and all the control, and you could feel like the producer and the director when you weren't.
There are rumors that she wanted to be the writer, editor, producer, and fashion designer of the movie, kicking out the real staff. She was adamant about changing the scenes and wardrobe, trying to add a touch of humor and glistering clothes in the realistic domestic violence movie. Because obviously Blake Lively wasn't just starring in It Ends With Us. She was the director, producer, editor, and maybe even the boom mic operator in her mind. Rumor has it that she wanted control over every single frame, probably demanding that her character get all the close-ups and that the lighting always hit her at the perfect angle.
Now in this lawsuit that he just filed again, this is the second lawsuit by Brian Friedman on behalf of Justin. This is against Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their PR hack.
It leads to a lot of tension on the set with clashes between Baldoni, the real director, or the male lead, and Lively, the female lead. Ultimately, Lively decided to take a bold step. She went to the studio executives and asked them to remove Baldoni from his role. She wanted him to remain on the sideline while she could control every creative decision of the movie, ruining its aesthetics and forgetting about the importance of teamwork. When Baldoni resisted her control, Lively allegedly claimed that he was sexually harassing her. She tried to throw in her superstar husband, Ryan Reynolds, and bestie Taylor Swift as her personal attack dogs. Because why argue your own case when you can have Deadpool and a pop megastar do the dirty work?
At the Reynolds penthouse in Manhattan, where Ryan Reynolds allegedly bullied Justin so badly that a Sony representative who was there, the production team behind the movie, and her biggest takeaway was, I am very sorry that I let him get away with doing that to Justin.
They both went on the Baldoni, harassing him in Ryan's Manhattan penthouse. There was a fight where Ryan shouted at Baldoni, making the poor Sony representative in the room bewildered. She was sorry for letting this happen, but the tension had already escalated between them. It was a bit sad sight as Ryan and Baldoni used to be great buddies. But now, they are sworn enemies, all because of a woman who wants ultimate creative control of someone else's movie. By the way, an old interview of Lively has recently surfaced, discussing how she loves to lie to directors and take creative control of their movies.
But I also knew that that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that.
She has openly declared it is an honor for her to sneak her way into movies and then create tension and ruckus over there.
Because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled.
It is the 2022 interview in the Forbes Women's Summit platform. Alas, Baldoni forgets to watch this interview, otherwise he would have never cast her in his movie. It was just 1 year before he interviewed Blake for his movie. That is the reason Megyn Kelly calls Lively a brat who loves lying and stealing from poor directors.
Away from Justin Baldoni. It was his film. He was the director. He's the producer. He's the one who found the book and got the idea for it. And she was such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film.
Among this power control game on the set of Baldoni's movie, Blake Lively accused him and his partner Jamie Heath of sexual harassment. Classic move. Accused Justin Baldoni of harassment while conveniently ignoring the fact that he could hit back with a lawsuit of his own. Maybe she thought this was another Gossip Girl episode where baseless rumors work like magic. Spoiler alert, they don't.
To those who say the reason she wanted him nowhere near her at the premiere is because he'd been sexually harassing her and then retaliating against her with a smear campaign in the press.
The specifics of the harassment included incidents like entering Lively's trailer while she was breastfeeding and showing explicit material. Later claimed to be a home birth video, not pornography. She claimed he did the kiss scene on the rooftop of the set without her consent. Moreover, she insisted that Baldoni and Heath used to step into her trailer room while she was naked. He also made her uncomfortable during the shooting in different incidents.
Let's break down what the sexual harassment is. I mean, we've just, been through the Me Too movement. We've heard all sorts of serious allegations of sexual harassment.
Meanwhile, Baldoni insists that it's a work of pure fiction, just like Gossip Girl but without the likable characters. Conveniently, this claim only surfaced when she wanted creative control. Timing, am I right? To try to smooth things over, the 17-point memo was created.
I mean, that's when the allegations of sexual harassment came up. They didn't come up before them.
Well, there was in the 17-point memo that you referenced. She was raising some of these issues.
Well, that's right. But I mean, in terms of the public.
This was essentially a contractual handshake, where everyone agreed on specific rules to prevent any more problems and keep things professional. It's essentially a resolution document where Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and their teams agreed to address the issues that arose during the making of the movie. The memo outlined things like privacy expectations, for example, no unannounced visits to trailers, boundaries during scenes, especially given the sensitive content of the film, and overall, a mutual agreement to respect each other's space and feelings. The goal was to create a safe working environment where everyone was on the same page and could continue working without further conflict.
She raised them in the 17-point memo. They had agreed to 17 points that they would agree, that they were simple points, that everybody would go back and she would return to work. There's a signed document saying they worked things out.
So, theoretically, after this agreement, everything should have been peachy. They had a roadmap for how to handle things moving forward. But here's where the plot thickens. After the agreement was signed and everyone supposedly settled their differences, Blake Lively reportedly stopped engaging in press and promotional activities for the film. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Lively, who was one of the lead stars, didn't show up for press events, refused to appear at the premiere, and even stopped participating in interviews with Baldoni, creating what seemed like an unspoken rift.
Justin, that were being leaked to the media, not about sexual harassment. There were negative stories about Justin being brought in saying no one likes him.
Now, there could have been many reasons for this, but it certainly didn't help the tension on set. Baldoni's team was, understandably, confused and upset by the sudden lack of engagement. There were even reports that Lively had intentionally distanced herself from Baldoni in public spaces, not showing up together for pictures or appearing in marketing materials as a team. This wasn't just a personal space issue. This felt like a business issue where the promotion of the film was being actively undermined by Lively's refusal to participate. With this public tension, crisis PR teams had to step in to manage the situation.
There are texts between them like that go on and on about their connection and how he really likes her. He loves this version of her, but he loves the other version of her too.
Allegations started to swirl about why Lively was behaving this way, and it fueled the fire. Some suggested that she was avoiding Baldoni because of the alleged sexual harassment claims, while others thought it was all part of a personal dispute that escalated into something bigger. Meanwhile, Baldoni's team started defending themselves, arguing that Lively's actions were more about her discomfort with the situation and less about any alleged harassment. Here, Lively stepped forward with her list of lies that Megyn believes are going to bite her back in the court. She, along with her husband Ryan, declares that Baldoni is a predator.
I don't generally text with other men, even men I work with at 11 o'clock at night, unless there's breaking news. It's my executive producer, and I'm like, I need to get on a plane.
Right.
And it's not like how I love this version of you.
She leaked some messages and talked about a few scenes of the movie where she painted herself as a victim and Baldoni as a big, bad Hollywood bully. At this point, she involved the media too.
The only reason this whole thing got started, before she filed the lawsuit, she just went to the California Human Rights Office, is because she clearly cooperated with the New York Times to leak the whole thing. Indeed, that's, Brian argues, the reason she went and filed the complaint with the Human Rights Division.
Ah, yes, the media circus. Lively took her complaints to the California Human Rights Office and then leaked them to the New York Times. How very victimized of her, right? Clearly, what every victim of harassment does is cooperate with the media to rehabilitate their reputation. If you can't prove harassment, why not create a narrative, leak it to the press, and just hope it sticks? I mean, who needs evidence when you have a well-timed New York Times article to back you up? Lively certainly wasn't shy about playing the media game and positioning herself as the hero in a story she helped script.
The New York Times says, quote, she claimed Baldoni had improvised unwanted kissing and discussed his life, including encounters in which he said he may not have received consent. Mr. Heath, the producer Jamie Heath, had shown her a video of his wife naked, she said, and he had watched Miss Lively in her trailer when she was topless and having body makeup removed, despite her asking him to look away.
By the time It Ends With Us premiered, Team Justin was about as populated as a deserted island. Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, the entire cast, and even Colleen Hoover hit the unfollow button with the speed of someone dodging responsibility. Why? Because Hollywood actors are notoriously loyal to whoever has the most power at the moment.
You know, these are weak, feckless people out in Hollywood. They have no spine. So, of course, they all unfollowed him and chose Team Blake, including, by the way, Colleen Hoover, the one who really owed him a debt of gratitude because he bought the rights to her book.
Forget justice or fairness. It's all about staying in the good graces of the bigger star. Loyalty in Hollywood is like a summer blockbuster. High budget, heavily promoted, and mostly fiction. Here, Megyn Kelly and Baldoni come into the action. Instead of telling baseless sob stories, Baldoni released a 168-page website containing all the evidence and text messages that prove him innocent and Lively as a liar. Megyn makes it the mission of discussing all this evidence in her videos, changing the perspective of Hollywood.
Blake Lively, if she was sexually harassed to such a degree in this film and in this situation, you know, she wouldn't have returned to the film.
First of all, there was the allegation from Lively that Baldoni saw her breastfeeding. In response to it, Baldoni shared a series of Lively's text messages.
That's what they put out, that he fat shamed her because he allegedly went to her trainer to ask how much she weighed.
Because he had to lift her in a scene.
Yes. And they write about how he's got this debilitating disc condition for which he was hospitalized when the movie wrapped. It's not made up, it's real. And he did need to know how much he was going to have to weigh. She lied and said that there was no scene like that. And then they allege here that's because she had it cut.
Oh boy, the text messages. These aren't just casual work-related exchanges. No, these messages show Lively initiating conversations, being playful, and even inviting Baldoni over while she was breastfeeding. Yeah, real victim behavior right there. It's almost as if she was totally fine with their interactions until, conveniently, she wasn't. Another disagreement on the movie set was that Blake Lively apparently thought a video of a home birth, you know, something that happens in real life and is part of a film scene, is serious enough to be classified as pornography.
The alleged that they subjected poor Blake Lively to was by Justin's business partner, who is a producer of the film from Wayfair, that's the name of their company, who she has a birth scene in the movie. And he showed her a still shot from his wife's delivery of their child.
Yes, a home birth video, a birth. As if there's anything about the human process of labor that screams intimate, R-rated experience for the eyes of the public. But okay, sure, it's a fair comparison to call a natural birth scene pornographic if you're Blake Lively, who clearly has a very interesting definition of what constitutes inappropriate content.
You can't see any R-rated parts at all. It's actually a really lovely artistic photo of a husband with his arms around his wife in a bathtub and the baby on top of the wife. There's no vag. There's nothing.
Apparently, the home birth video that was shown was part of a discussion for an on-set scene about birthing. But somehow, Lively's version of harassment includes being shown something so wholesome as a home birth video, and deciding it was that offensive rather than seeing it as research for a movie about, let's say, domestic violence and sex scenes.
Which is just an example of how she loves to play the victim. And then the one about, he burst in on me uninvited when I was breastfeeding my child. She says we should run lines together. He's like, anytime. And she's like, come on over. I'm breastfeeding the baby in the trailer, but come on over.
I mean, if we're gonna start labeling educational, non-explicit content as pornography, just because it's a bit too much for someone's sensibilities, then I'm pretty sure Lively's gonna need a whole new vocabulary. Home birth, people. The horror. So, yeah, Baldoni's team is just sitting there going, really? This is what we're calling harassment now? A video that is neither explicit nor sexual in nature, but rather a very clinical, very real part of childbirth. But apparently, according to Lively, this is what's so traumatizing. Maybe next time, they should show her a clip from The Miracle of Life and see if she needs a safe space afterwards. It's almost as if there's a new, creative definition of harassment floating around. Anything that makes me uncomfortable, even if it's totally normal, gets a label of harassment. It's like giving a gold star for most dramatic interpretation of real life. Now, let's talk about her third major allegation.
Paragraph 48 of her complaint. She writes, on another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Ms. Lively out of character as himself.
So, Blake Lively's big complaint is that during a slow dance scene, Justin Baldoni allegedly dragged his lips down her neck and whispered, "It smells so good."
None of this was remotely in character or based on any dialogue in the script, and nothing needed to be said because, again, there was no sound. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Ms. Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles.
Now, if you are thinking, this was clearly a serious offense, even though Lively's character was meant to be in a romantic scene, and they were both pretending to be lovers. Let me tell you, nothing like that happens.
Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni interacting as themselves, knowing that this is all on video and that this is going to be used to create this dance scene, and no such moment is shown.
Here, enter TMZ, the hero of the story, who conveniently released the video of the scene.
Oh my gosh, we don't shut up.
And Emily and I have we have these moments where
staring. You just stare.
Literally we've done it for 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. He's literally
You're talking about their spouses.
Turns out, Lively and Baldoni were not engaged in some sinister, creepy behavior as she alleged. In fact, they were just acting like playful colleagues, laughing and joking around, and completely not acting like they were in the middle of a formal harassment situation.
When I found a sociopath.
And time stops.
Yeah.
But that's just how it's been for us from the beginning.
No, we're like, oh my God, there's not enough time.
And they score again.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, I forgot to tell you something else.
Lively even laughs off the beard comment, which you'd think would be the perfect time to scream harassment if she truly felt threatened. But no, instead, she giggles. Clearly, that neck caress was so damaging that it somehow turned into a charming moment for the two actors, right?
Okay, there. Okay, so he puts his head in her neck.
I'm not getting beard on you today.
And says, am I getting beard on you?
It smells good.
Well, it's not that. It's my body makeup.
Except for these raw footage and messages, Baldoni has shared different voice messages that clearly scream that he was not a harasser or bully on the set, but a poor director who was dealing with a brat of an actress and enduring her power plays. Megyn Kelly played the 7-minute voicemail in one of her YouTube videos, sharing her opinion about it.
Hey, Blake. It is 2 in the morning. Hopefully this does not wake you up. I want to start with an apology. Man.
According to her, this voicemail proves that Justin is a sort of desperate and weak man who converts into a Hollywood doormat for Ryan and Lively to stomp over him. We could hear how he is apologizing profusely for failing Lively and praising her like a fangirl, saying how excited he is to be in her presence.
Reading the second part of your message, my heart sank. And I'm really sorry.
And then there's Justin's heartfelt basement monologue. Pure cinema, really.
Because I wasn't allowed to be seen. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast. So they ushered me off the carpet and they sent us down to the basement.
Here he was like, I was exiled, cast into the darkness, like a Shakespearean tragic hero, only to realize that true joy is in the company of my closest friends and family.
Think about this. On what, could have been one of the most beautiful nights of my life career-wise, I literally was sent to the basement with all my friends and family for over an hour.
After all of these digital receipts and evidence, Hollywood and the court are against Lively, leading Megyn to believe she is Amber 2.0. Speaking of Amber, Blake seems to be following her playbook step by step. Cry foul, play the victim, and hope that enough people ignore the giant red flags waving behind her. Someone get her a role in Aquaman 3. Stat.
Because she has made herself into the new Amber Heard, and he is the new Johnny Depp. That's what's caught people's attention.
Now, she is standing alone, and the whole of Hollywood is behind Justin. Even her best friend, Taylor Swift, has also left her. Colleen Hoover's Instagram has been stripped of all things Blake. Maybe she finally read her book and realized she was in a toxic relationship. Or perhaps she saw the actual receipts and went, oh wait, maybe I shouldn't backstab the guy who literally bought the rights to my work. Either way, it's giving me big, I regret my life choices energy. Now, with Hollywood against her, there are huge chances no one will be with her in the court. And when she has to speak the truth, she has to deny her sob story. This will ultimately lead her to court punishments, and most probably, jail time. If you want to remain updated about this whole situation, hit the subscribe button.